in the push here, but you can actually have all-ins against, Bard and Caitlyn. So TSM have navigated themselves into a pretty good angle here to pick Thresh. In their previous series, the only time they had Thresh, it was into a Tahm Kench and a Morgana, which really is not kind of how you want to play it. So right. I think TSM are pretty happy with this. They've added some additional engage. They were perhaps concerned with the few ways they had to actually start fights last time. Not only do they have the Ashe arrow this time, they have Thresh hooks, they have Ornn ultimate. That is going to be pretty powerful. One of the concerns I have for them is if they want to play that same style where you're giving up the first 2 dragons and looking to scale towards the 3rd, which I feel like they might be doing with this style of composition, you have to remember that the other team has Mordekaiser and can eliminate the possibility of a 50-50 sometimes. We have seen Hauntzer be so on point with this, where you show up to that 3rd dragon, you're like, all right, we're ready to fight. And then your jungler just gets Mordekaiser ulted, and they take the dragon for free, and then you're like, oh, okay. I forgot about that. So we'll see how they want to do it, because it does feel like with Orianna Ornn, you want to sit back and scale a bit, and Golden Guardians may be more ready to scrap for those early dragons.
It's going to be a fun game to watch, absolutely. I'm still going to look at bottom lane a whole lot. There can be some gank assist up top side. This is not Shen versus Vlad, where Vlad permanently at full health and doesn't have gank assist, so he can't get a gank on his side either. It's going to be spicy in every single lane here. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch TF versus Orianna. The globals run around the map. The Ornn engages, and we'll see what the bot lane looks like here as well as we're getting into game 2, as Golden Guardians are up 1-0 in this best of 5. And as I look at bot lane a little bit, I do want to point out that TSM does not need hard counterpick every single time to win this. Across the 12 regular season games that Doublelift and Biofrost played, Doublelift had the best overall gold and XP difference at 10 of all starting AD carries, meaning he overall had very, very, very strong lanes with Biofrost across the first 12. And so I want to see if they can hold that one up, because in playoffs, FBI and huhi have been absolutely taking names down there.
They've been crushing it, but last game, to the credit of TSM, I do think that they were winning the 2v2 straight up. Closer had some great ganks, and they capitalized well on that. It wasn't like they were getting crushed by any means before that. It was fairly even, but clearly TSM's bottom lane performing better than the last time around. Part of that is due to the picks, part of that perhaps due to the play. We'll have to see if they can keep that level up going into this one. Is cleanse this time around from FBI, so he's paying that tax because it's not only the Ashe, but it's also the Thresh this time. So I do think it makes sense. There is also less straight up kind of big beefy frontliners ahead of him, so you don't have the Shen and the Volibear standing up there to tank arrows for you come teamfight time. So it's more likely that you would need the cleanse in this situation.
Nice sweeper, gets rid of the ward as the wave pushes in. Golden Guardian's going to let the other one down on that rush timeout, as that was the early place of the recall switch to sweeper. But early push goes in, as Bard is a better early fighter than Thresh. The skill shot's a lot more reliable than Thresh Hook, and even Flay, which he actually is what he learned. Shorter range tool. So first push goes through, TSM respectfully backs off, and right now Doublelift is on perfect CS, whereas only 10 of 12 for FBI, so we'll see how much more the Ashe can get here, as Hawkshot reveals that Closer did 3 camps with blue buffs. They know which 3 camps are gone. Hawkshot also reveals the 3 camp markers. They know exactly what Lee Sin's been doing so far.
Exactly. You're going to have full information there, so that always feels really, really nice as the opposing jungler to know where he is, where he could be. They have that push on the bottom side, so you are kind of assuming that Golden Guardians is going to challenge for that bottom side scuttle, and then it's going to be up to Spica to say, okay, do I want to try to answer this? Do I want to at least get a ward down here to protect? He is moving over here. Biofrost has Hook,
showing the junglers around. Stun's going to land on Ashe. Hook's going to land. Cleansed back away. Now Spica's got to run backwards, gets slowed, but no more stuns to be had. Good first time by FBI, or sorry, by huhi, but end of the day, Cleanse down for the gank is well played by TSM.
It is very well played, and we'll see if they can follow up on this. They're trying to push it out right now. Spica maybe face-checking this Lee Sin, though, and we'll see if huhi can get the bind.
Gets the slow, gets the Q, is going to ward hop away. The flash Q, that was some miscoordination. I think huhi thought there was more of a fight to be had, but there was not one.
There wasn't, but if he could have found that angle, potentially you could trap off of it and maybe follow up there. Either way, he's not able to find the binding. So in the long run, TSM can't reset the wave, but they got 2 summoners, big summoners. They got the cleanse and the flash, so that is going to be feeling really, really nice. Good trade up here on that top side from Broken Blade, and we'll see if TSM can utilize this little skirmish advantage that they have gotten to try to get something more.
So far, so good. Broken Blade up 8 CS with a wave to farm, so that should pretty close to equalize on this side of the map. Very small gold lead to Golden Guardian. Some of that is fraudulent, with Twisted Fate passing, just generating 3 gold. That's reflected in the scoreboard, despite the fact that he's playing the lane pretty much equal to Bjergsen here, with this wave going to be fairly easily cleaned up. We're going to see our first recalls before too terribly long. As we can see more items being forged by Broken Blade. He's just stacking the early MR, knows he's obviously facing Mordekaiser, wants to get Abyssal Mask online so he doesn't have to worry about that fight too much. And Spica keeps moving around his side of the jungle, taking down the chickens.
Yep, and he saw that ward getting placed. That's always a little bit of a feels bad man for Damonte, because right as you place it, it does get cleared out. And for me personally, anytime I'm in that type of a situation, I'm always feeling really nervous. It's like, oh, well, he knows that I know he's there, so is he going to gank me or not gank me because he thinks I'm expecting it, you know? You kind of feel like a little bit of that mind game, but Closer was pathing up, so he felt comfortable to stay around and farm it up. Wasn't worried about the Graves gank coming in, and of course, Graves Orianna, not exactly incredible gank assistance there. Yep. So it's going to be safe, and looks like Bjergsen will try to shove out one more wave and then reset, while Damonte just is going to wait in base and blow his TP here.
Bone Flitting knocked off, follow-up auto attack. Bit of damage with Biofrost, but he's regenning decently well overall. Gold is tied across these teams. 80 carries has the same amount of farm. This is the wave you want to recall off of. You can see Biofrost already starting his. Doublelift should have no problem having BF Sword with 45 CS. That's more than enough to make the one come through, so pretty standard stuff out of the TSM bot lane. Now some looks towards the top side as Broken Blade tries to find some CC on Hauntzer. Hauntzer walks away, and we can see who's doing well in gold overall. Yeah, pretty close across every role, under 100 across in any individual matchup. Top lane in a weird spot. It's overextending, forcing Hauntzer to walk up to do this. He was going to want it back before too terribly long either.
Yep, but with him being 6 on that wave, that's why they look for that gank. And I know the gank looks kind of awkward. It's like, well, it's pretty low chance to work, but that's really your last chance to actually gank Mordekaiser, so they're trying to see if they can make it happen.
Easy Q, easy gold card, a lot of CC. The flash puts him back in the turret range. He's got to be careful. Hooked right back in. Good damage, but Bjergsen, I don't think he could move the Q in time to get the shockwaves, so Closer gets right back out.
Yeah, the gold card actually expired because they waited so long there. So Damonte popped it very early, and I think had he not done that, I think they kill Thresh. Because they could have had the the binding into the gold card. Instead, they just had the binding. It expired. He was able to flash out. But yeah, Bjergsen not able to get the ball over in time and get that shockwave down. Was a little bit late. I think he was trying to go for the deliberate timing of pulling the Lee Sin out of the portal, perhaps. But either way, not going to be able to get the kill there. So it is just a couple summoners off of Biofrost.
And now we can see a small gold lead on the Golden Guardian side as recalls come through. Dragon being started in the face of Spica, but as somehow the wave was manicured in Golden Guardian's favor, Doublelift is forced to be under the turret, losing your BF Sword 80 carry as the mid laners come back to lane. Means it's not too much of a problem. And the early Cloud Drake will go over. 10% ulti CDR, gonna feel real great picked up before Damonte has to press R the first time.
Yep, both for Damonte as well as for Hauntzer. I think that's actually pretty impactful. I would also say, it's kind of illustrates how important that previous play was. Biofrost getting caught there actually forced him to be on a reset. He couldn't just stay out on the map when he was that low. So that means that Doublelift has to seek control over the wave, and Doublelift has to allow FBI and huhi to push them in. And that is exactly why he's under the turret when they can start up that dragon. So, even though they didn't get the kill on Biofrost, the chain of events after it actually led them to getting the first dragon, which is really, really nice for Golden Guardians. I'm going to be able to start off on the right foot here once again in Game 2.
All right, so blue buff being attacked here. Speaking of feel comfortable to knock this one down without any issues. Bjergsen said, yeah, this guy is low. I think he's recalling away. In fact, he was doing that. So Damonte, not on the map right now. Smite to guarantee in case someone was in the brush. And Speaking gets a blue buff steal, which is pretty solid. Meanwhile, his bottom jungle is completely safe. A couple defensive control wards from TSM. You can see one near mid lane, one in front of the blue. Means that jungle, that side of the jungle really entirely is safe right here. He goes to move around in his red, and Closer goes, this is the second time I've lost part of my jungle to you. Can you stop this?
It's the Graves way. And so far, it's been kind of 2 games where Spica has been playing this Graves, and he's actually been getting CS advantages, but it has been Closer investing his time and actually helping out the lanes. And Broken Blade's taking a lot of damage, so Hauntzer is actually just going to commit the ulti.
Ulti used to take the fight, does get knocked up. The rest of the squad's coming in pretty soon. Flashes away from the knock of his Damonte now shows up. Now Bjergsen here as well. Shockwave not going to be committed for that one. Didn't want to burn it as the guy was too healthy, but it will force recalls away.
Yeah, so overall, I still think TSM come out ahead there because they got, both the ultimate and the TP actually off Damonte, or was that a spellbook that swapped over to TP?
Yeah, I think it's spellbook.
Okay, so it was just the ultimate then. But either way, still going to be pretty happy about that, and that's why Bjergsen was actually holding his teleport and not TPing back to lane. Was trying to make sure that he could respond to a play like that. So both sides ended up trading pretty even. Golden Guardians will come out ahead with the Rift Herald here, though.
Yeah.
Doublelift was able to push in bottom lane and have that wave pushing back towards them, so a little bit of a CS advantage there. But Golden Guardians actually, move their bottom lane over to mid. They're going to send Damonte down towards that bottom lane, and we'll see if Bjergsen can get anything done in the mid lane, because he will have the blue buff advantage and should be able to hold pretty comfortably with blue buff, I think, against this jungle lane.
A lot of ward control right now on the bottom. Jungle by TSM, an aggressive control ward, a regular invisible one down there as well by the red buff. Going to give a lot of vision down there as the lane swap around. Bjergsen going to try to 1v2 against huhi and FBI. He says, all right, Doublelift and Biofrost, you had your turn. Let me do it. He's the fan vote MVP from Twitter. Closer going to smite this red, but again, he's dancing around some wards right now. TSM nearby. And Closer gets the sixth sense to just hide away from that one. That would have been certain death if he walked into a hook there.
Yeah, if it was a split second earlier, they could have potentially even smoted away and then got a kill. So I really do like the deep vision. I think it's extra important when you're playing against champions like TF to have deep vision to be able to track where they are going, because it's not as though he's level 16 at this point and can just ult super, super far. The rank 1 ultimate has relatively limited range. You have to move about halfway up the map. So if Damonte goes missing from bottom lane, you will likely see him around that red buff before he could ult towards mid lane and actually attack Bjergsen. So this allows them to play a little bit less defensive anytime he just goes into fog, because you have wards tracking where he needs to be.
Yeah, if he's actually making the trip all the way over with there. Cannon going to be knocked down, I believe, not by Damonte himself. I think the turret last hit that one. Still a very small lead. Yeah, you missed the cannon. It's just unwinnable game at that point. I mean, why even bother playing it out? TSM, congratulations, you made it to Worlds. Cloud9, yeah, you're not going to get to play this one out either. It's just how it is. So when the recall comes through for Biofrost, he's moving around. We have the Mountain Drake spawning in 1 minute's time. I'm curious what it's going to look like, as the mid lane push hasn't amounted to much turret pressure. The Rift Herald will be coming down pretty soon, you have to imagine. It's been in inventory for 2 minutes so far. Closer finishes Warrior Enchant, same here for Spica. No boots for either jungler, Abyssal Mask close for Broken Blade, and another recall going to come through for Bjergsen. Now, only 40 seconds on Drake. He'll be there in time, but he can't really fight for the ward control. So if Golden Guardians takes the bottom river, it's going to be vision deficit for TSM. A bot pushed in, easy farm for Doublelift, as Archangels is, of course, a very worthy power spike and one worth recalling for. Drake's up at 25.
Yeah, and I honestly think that TSM should be pretty happy about how the early stages have gone. The gold is very even. There's no kills on either side, and I talked about how, the Ornn and the Orianna want time to scale. They want to be able to, sit back and play a bit of a slower pace. Even though they did give up the first dragon, it wasn't like instantly on spawn, and they have the ability potentially to contest at the second dragon to really slow down that snowball towards the soul. If they could get one dragon here, that would buy themselves so much time before any potential soul could come through. And then at that point, TSM can give up a dragon or two and make sure that they're really in the right spot to fight.
All right, Golden Guardian is eyeing the bottom lane right now. Close to showing up in the lane. This looks like it's going to be a Herald summon potentially and some real turret damage.
I would like that.
Of course, can move around. There's the first plate knocked off. Herald always means 2 and never quite 3 plates by itself, at least in the early game.
Yeah.
And timer is ticking down. We're down about 30 seconds left on the Herald, so you've got to summon it pretty much on this wave. If you're not summoning it for anything useful at all, at some point you got to get the crash.
He should just drop it, and then TSM either don't respond to it and lose their tower, or they do respond to it and they lose the dragon, but TSM's just going to rush this down. It will be a steal.
Shockwave, it's not going to be the smite in time. Well done to Bjergsen. He might have been in range, but it was a better smite by Spica. There's the charge. There's 2 plates, 300 gold going over to close. But end of the day, all it got were those 2 plates. TSM secured the Drake. Well played to them. Even as Hauntzer TP's down, he gets nothing for it.
It felt like Golden Guardians were a little bit hesitant on committing the Rift Herald. I feel like if they did that the previous wave, it would have drawn more attention from TSM, and then they could have been the ones perhaps rushing down that dragon, getting the inside track. But Spica does secure this one for TSM, so they have bought themselves a ton of time now before any potential soul could come through, and that's exactly the situation that they want to be in. Bjergsen deserving of a lot of credit there, though. It looked like he pulled Closer out of his Q with the Shockwave, so even if you're still in range to smite, you lose the execute damage from that Lee Sin Q if it does not connect. it actually has to like, arrive at the target. So that makes it so much easier for Spica to actually land the smite there.
Well done, and it's going to be TSM feeling pretty comfortable now as they've split the Drakes pretty equally. Ulti used by Hauntzer because he's got teammates coming around as well. Broken Blade can't sidestep much. Here comes the rest of the damage. His closer's waiting around in the wings. There's the slow. There is absolutely no way out. A late first blood at 1350 and change. Closer gets 400 gold in his pockets.
Well done. They sent 4 top last time they wanted to look for this. They did it again here, but they only needed 2. Damonte showing up pretty much unneeded, and huhi made the roam, not able to get much done there himself. But let's watch this one more time. Pretty simple. I mean, this is a full HP Ornn, but he knows with the assistance coming through, he just has to keep him in place. The TF ultimate was committed. Broken Blade getting very low, and I think that TSM at this point, as soon as they saw the TF ult, you can see that Spica's just farming Krugs. Like, there's actually no point in going over there because you can't get multiple members to be able to fight back. So you just give it up. You say, all right, well, we got the TF ult. We got multiple things. It's okay if our Ornn just dies once. And honestly, with a kill going over to Lee Sin, you're not too bothered as TSM.
Yeah, overall solid stuff. Damonte not even getting the assist onto that one. So you can see a little shockwave there on a Hauntzer. He has ult down for the time. Bjergsen not quite stunned. Couldn't get the rest of the AoE. Ulti going to be dodged away as well. A little bit too far back on that one. Couldn't have really flashed over it anyway. But no real play to be had. A couple of ultis traded out and nothing else picked up here. But an 1,800 gold lead to Golden Guardians, and only about 200 of that is Damonte with his passive. So overall earning more gold as a team and having a pretty solid mid game here as Golden Guardians.
They definitely are, but the scaling is really good over on the side of TSM, and as those Ornn items do come unlocked, that is always a concern. Was a critical sidestep also from Bjergsen on that huhi ultimate, because if the Bard ult does connect over onto Bjergsen, it's a pretty easy setup for Closer to just kick him in immediately thereafter and get that kill. So he's able to stay alive, and Golden Guardians, I think, doing okay, but given the state of the game and the compositions, I actually favor TSM from this game state.
Wards at work. Spica takes the entire chicken camp and puts Closer down to half HP and is an easy lantern away. Biofrost, well done from you. As the top laners are now fighting, as Damonte moves up to that side of the map, says, I'll have my turn fighting Broken Blade. Difficulty being, he's got a magic damage top laner, so Broken Blade already went Abyssal Mask. He is all magic resist, no armor. That's still going to hurt Damonte. huhi tries to fight over this one. Spica's here as well, but this time around can't steal it. So top lane, or top river, Scuttle Crab goes to Golden Guardians.
So I'm actually really curious now when and if members on TSM are going to start picking up QSS, right? Because that was such a big point of discussion in the previous series when, you know, Doublelift on his Caitlyn game against the Mordekaiser, he's on 2 items, he goes for the Zeal instead of the QSS, and he gets soloed out in a critical fight against Hauntzer, and there was a lot of criticism towards Doublelift, both for how he played that fight, but also, you know, for not having QSS. And Spica in this, it's going to be critical if they're playing around dragons for him to be able to QSS out of the Mord ultimate to be able to smite those dragons. So interested to see, you know, does he go for it after 2 items? 1v1 here from Hauntzer and Bjergsen.
And Bjergsen dodges every single skill shot so far. Hauntzer's landed the ulti and nothing else. That one's point and click. 0 way to live. Beautiful out of Bjergsen, and now the re-engage could be just as good. No way out for Damonte. Even gets the casual extra stun onto huhi. TSM taking control on the bottom side and just ties up the gold +4 as his turret will fall.
Bjergsen with the outplay there, utilizing the phase rush perfectly to just dodge everything Hauntzer could do, taking down his former teammate. They get the tower, they get the kill. Bjergsen just played this really, really well here. Hauntzer has no MR, of course, at this point. He lands the QW right on the edge of it. Phase rushes proc. The ultimate comes through, dodges the E, dodges the Q. At that point, as Hauntzer, you basically know you're dead. You're just hoping that your team is going to win the fight thereafter. But Biofrost was here faster. The hook for Damonte gets him nowhere. Straight into the flash. Broken Blade was there as well. So Golden Guardians had no hope, and now it's Doublelift on FBI.
FBI saving the cleanse for later in the game, as he's healthy enough to be fine on that one. He grabs a bit of hot chocolate and looks around the top side of the map. But TSM have turned the corner. Looks like this team is ready to keep the fight going, but they are missing most engage ults. Only Shockwave is up. Otherwise, they can't pick a fight too easily, but with numbers and health lead, they're going to go for both sides of the map right now. Spica soloing the Ocean Drake. The rest of the squad stopping the attempt at Rift Herald, and TSM looking good in game 2.
They really are. And off of that previous play, because there's no TF ultimate, no Mordekaiser ultimate, Golden Guardians simply don't feel comfortable to actually take a fight at the Dragon. You know, it would feel too risky for them at that point. So they tried to make it a trade for Rift, but as you say, TSM dissuade them. They're soloing up the Dragon at the same time. They do get the bottom lane turret, and it actually looks like they're going to get mid lane here too. So Golden Guardians will get a very good injection of gold. But it is TSM working towards that Ocean Soul. They're the first onto 2 dragons. Oh, nice catch here.
This is big. 2 ultis. Here comes an attempted stun, but Biofrost burns the stopwatch, so Doublelift is not stunned. There is no target to turn it into. Allows the squad to get away. It's a turret and nothing else.
Yeah, that was actually a critical stopwatch there. You know, Spica able to flash out after he went into that stopwatch. So still, Golden Guardians do get 2 towers. You're going to be feeling pretty darn good about that. But TSM escape with their lives, because that was looking like it was going to be 2 kills, and that was a really high value stopwatch, which bought the rest of TSM time to get in there and defend their jungler and support.
Yeah, cannot emphasize enough that stopwatch saved Spica's life. He flashed away. I'm pretty sure he timed the Q correctly to get a double stun if that was going to happen. I mean, obviously you've got TF behind him as well, and instead nothing happens there. The turret, of course, is nice. It means the gold lead is back to a 1,000 lead for Golden Guardians overall. And now we'll see what happens next, because it had felt like TSM was overall winning around the map, except when they could get the really good TF ultimates in. 3 minutes on the Drake, still to go.
And that's going to be something TSM will have to be careful about the entire game through, right? You really have got to make sure that you're not in an easy-to-kill position. You know, if you're 1v1ing against Mordekaiser, Mordekaiser can ult you to buy time for the TF to come through, and then, you know, even if you're doing okay in the 1v1, TF shows up, you get killed off. So that's always going to be a threat throughout the entire game. But the gold lead is really not an issue at all. You know, Bjergsen is obviously, you know, working towards his second item. Broken Blade just hit 13, so he's got the double upgraded Ornn items now, which is a lot of extra gold there. TF gold is kind of lying to you as well. Broken Blade just looking like he wants to push this in.
Yeah, he went in as Spica came around, but then Closer showed up as well. Broken Blade getting some decent damage. Here's a bit of a trade of fights. And Hauntzer, low enough on health, doesn't really want to ult if he doesn't have to, but there's going to go for the flash of the kickback. Broken Blade flashed away here as well. So Closer, if he ever wants to R-flash, could do so. Doesn't go for the play. Just the ward hop is enough. But now a re-engage towards Biofrost. This time they're going to land everything they could want. A single auto finally knocks him down. If you land the ult, you land the Caitlyn trap, and you are dead from there.
Really nicely done. Good catch on the rotation there from Golden Guardians, but good ult.
That is a setup for a double shockwave, and that is huhi forced to flash away. Not something he wanted out of that one. Ulti's down, but it doesn't matter. Mid-turret's going to fall.
Okay, TSM battling back, you know, do force out the flash. They take the tower, so tower for a support. TSM going to be pretty happy about that. Steal away the Raptors as well. But I have to question Broken Blade playing that so aggressively. It didn't feel like I get it if like Wade's like hard frozen or something, but it was not that case whatsoever. And he just kind of committed the ultimate, you know, forgetting about the fact that TF could actually respawn. So they had to go fully in retreat. And honestly, it's that play that gets Biofrost killed in rotation, because he's trying to get up there to defend his jungler and top laner. So you've got to play with patience, even if you can win the 2v2. If you do not see that the TF is specifically out of range on the other side of the map, it's not a 2v2, because the TF is always going to show up to those types of fights.
Now, interesting point here. We talk about Ornn power spikes a lot. Speaking of Broken Blade, he's got his first Tweedums online, right? Abyssal Mask, Sunfire Cape, great. No one on TSM has an Ornn item yet. QSS comes through for Spica. Love it. Totally great item right here. But Arcane doesn't upgrade. Vance doesn't upgrade. S3 even Hurricane don't upgrade. The Zeke's Rush for Thresh is a great item, but also doesn't upgrade. So he's going to sit there for a while waiting for a Black Cleaver or a third item, IE. And that means no QSS for Double if that's the case, you know, or Death Cap, which is maybe third in for Bjergsen.
I hear you, and I think that it's pretty defensible, though, in this situation.
Oh, totally.
It is something that makes sense to talk about. As Hauntzer, you know, he doesn't want to ult now because he knows he's going to get chased down and killed after it, but he has to use that ult potentially defensively, but QSS is there, so he is just going to be probably gone.
Definitely in a 1v3. Thresh shows up here as well. Of course, he instant QSS to knock that one down. So it's just a trade of cooldowns. At the end of the day, it is mid lane pressure. Golden Guardians know they are roughly 3v2 in this side of the map. Arrow's going to land. Here comes the cleanse away, trying to get the damage. Dodges the Q. Spica's in to block the rest of that one. How about the rest of the knockup? So ulti comes across. They finally get the snipe. FPS going to run out of health, though. Spica needs one more auto attack. He can't reload in time. It's not an automatic shotgun. It's got 2 barrels, but now Bjergsen right behind him. Look for this one as well. That's going to be an easy cleanup. 2 kills picked up, but 2 traded back.
Very aggressive play there. FBI trying to go for the punish. He is able to pull it off and kill off Doublelift, but you kind of have to question if it's really worth it, because they committed a lot. They committed 3 summoners to get that 2 for 2 kills. They don't end up getting the tower, but they are creating some space for Damonte up on this top side, and we'll see what he can get done with it. But yeah, I mean, I really do like the discussion about the Ornn items here. Another free dragon, though, giving over to TSM. I feel like if you give Ocean Soul to this sort of team, like, you're pretty much just losing, because you're not going to one-shot the Ornn. Here it is one more time. Broken Blade with the initial really strong trade, and because he has the QSS, he can go very aggressively for this now, knowing that even if he gets ulted, Bjergsen is going to be behind him. Quick QSS is popped as soon as that comes through. Hauntzer flashing away, but of course Biofrost was there to corral him. But yeah, I mean, it's always an interesting discussion because it's like, in this case, you know, what would Bjergsen have gotten earlier to actually get it, right? He feels he needs some defensive itemization, so, you know, it's defensible to go for the Banshees. Here again is this play, trying to go very aggressive. They do trade the kill over onto Doublelift, and, you know, FBI playing this out really, really well, kiting just out of range, and the reload, as you called out, you know, not there in time for the Graves, but Bjergsen does clean it up and grab the double buffs for himself, so, you know, TSM not going to be too concerned about that overall, and I assume that we're going to have, you know, probably QSS on Doublelift, and he'll work towards IE, probably Death Cap, and these types of items will come through next, and then we'll start to see those Ornn items come through, but to your point, it's going to be a long time before they actually get that additional value, because he's already level 15, and there's nothing even in sight. None of the components are even there for items that he can upgrade.
He's the Magic Mantle in for Doublelift. That is the push towards QSS. I would be shocked if it was Hex Drinker or a Death Stance, though theoretically it is possible. We'll wait to see what comes through.
It's a stone plate.
Yeah, I doubt that highly. You know, Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask, I think that's another option there. Wit's End, he's got Hurricane. There's synergy there. All theoretically options, though they are unlikely, as mid lane is being cleared back and forth. It is an 1,800 gold lead to Golden Guardians. They do have more cash money overall, and again, it is not because of TF passive. He's actually down in gold against Bjergsen. The other members are ahead, Closer and FBI, the primary ones. FBI actually 1,700 gold up. But has a lower DPS build, it's lower spell damage, it's lower auto attack DPS. It gets him that one auto if he needs to play very far back and hide from Orianna or hide from Ashe. But you will never kill Ornn because you have one extra auto attack. That is still not a team fight build. It is a poke out a turret build, which can make sense in a split push combo. As TSM knocked down the mid lane, no one is here to defend. Tier 2 is gone, and TSM ties the turret score.
The other thing to take note of is the fact that FBI has been getting a lot of solo experience. You know, he is playing the cleanse, so is less worried about getting picked off. He's level 14, right? He is very high level on this Caitlyn, so he is working towards that big third item, whether it's going to be the S3 for the Storm Razor, we will find out. But then at that point, you know, he's going to be very well online with all the additional AD. TSM, though, pushing up here. Remember, they are the ones at soul points. So the fact that Golden Guardians hasn't had the confidence to teamfight at any of the last couple dragons does not bode very well for them. Because TSM is going to be at this dragon, and Golden Guardians either give up soul for free and then they're trying to play some sort of wild game where they never interact with TSM ever again, or they have to take the fight and find the correct angle. Because, you know, TF, the power in your ultimate is very much about finding mismatch fights, right? It's not necessarily about the straight up combat power. It's more about, oh, you're in a side lane 1v1, now it's a 2v1. Whereas, you know, Orianna is just built differently, right? And Bjergsen has the components of that death cap, possibly could get towards the death cap completion before this next dragon comes through if they, you know, give him some of the jungle camps and funnel him some of this farm. That would be massive, not only because he would get the huge power spike from the completion, but it would be immediately upgraded by the Ornn. So Bjergsen would be absurdly strong. I also don't know how close he is to 16, but if he could get there also, Orianna Shockwave on really any of the carries would probably seal that fight.
Yeah, these guys are not tanky at all. There's a Rod of Ages for health, and that is it. Mikhail's not going to do a whole lot for you overall. I'm curious what the fight looks like if Hauntzer can get his ulti off fully on someone. We already saw Bjergsen solo kill the guy last time, but at least you can lock out Thresh for a bit. Thresh actually gets a lot of AP for his passive, so there's at least stats to poach there.
But do you win that 4v4? That's the problem.
Not with Ornn.
Exactly. Like there's 3 QSSs, and there's a Banshee's Veil on Bjergsen, and he's going to be pretty far back. So it's, generally speaking, it should be hard for him to get in range. Yeah, and he wins. So it's like, okay, who cares about the ulti anymore? TSM has itemized effectively against it. Yes, they paid that price. So, you know, that's not a BF sword in Doublelift's inventory. He's going to do less damage, but it really does reduce your options. And it also has the added value of you're playing against a TF and you're playing against a Bard. So if you get Bard stunned, if you get gold carded, if you even accidentally step on a trap or whatever, you can remove that. With the trap interaction, I do believe that you still get that free headshot as Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Even if you get out of that trap. But, you know, there's going to be something you can QSS in a fight to the death. Very, very likely.
And now Biofrost has one. He's joined the roster. He's got more stuff. So now Hauntzer is in another 1v2. Flashes away from the knockup. Bjergsen runs at 9,000 miles an hour, knocks off the Banshee's Veil, and now slowly walks at him and can't do nearly enough damage. Just for good measure, pops the Seraph's shield. These fights are absolutely not close. So Golden Guardians are going for broke. They're trying to rush down this Baron as fast as possible. Spica is nearby. Bard ult hits. They can run this one down. They can burst it down. They can grab the pickup. They grab this fight. But how about the rest of this fight? How about the rest of the crowd control? Is there a battle to be had in the 5v4? QSS popped to get away from the gold card stun. One kill for a Baron is nice, but guess what? The Ocean Drake is alive.
Exactly, and Bjergsen is doing it. So that's 3 uncontested dragons in a row. Bjergsen didn't even commit the ultimate to actually winning that 1v1 against Hauntzer. He did get the death cap before coming in, so Bjergsen is absurdly strong. And now Ornn is well and truly unkillable. Ornn with this amount of items, you know, plus the Ocean Soul, I just don't see how you're going to be able to kill him in any sort of a reasonable fight if it's a 5v5, you know, with the shielding and the protection from the rest of the team and the threat that the other members do put in. So yes, there is this kind of brief moment of power where you have the Baron buff on 4 members. That's great for Golden Guardians, but I actually think that TSM make the intelligent call to just take Soul, not fully commit to that 4v4, because Bjergsen committed his TP to the bot side, and just say, all right, we sit back, we wait out this Baron buff, and then we go on the offensive. Their Baron buff is gone, and we have Ocean Soul forever.
Yep. So it's really up to Golden Guardians to use the injection of gold and the injection of experience from killing Baron to say, look, we are more powerful right now. This is our time to do something with this, with the Red Bull Baron, to push in and find themselves some kind of a lead and say, look, you can still boil down Ocean Soul to stats. It is some amount of health over the course of a team fight. That is a number that you can quantify to a certain degree and say, okay, if we're at 4,000 gold, 5,000 gold, we're roughly as strong as Ocean Soul, compositions notwithstanding, obviously relevant here as well. But they've got to get to that point. They have to make that happen and retain that gold lead, or it's not going to matter anymore. Great Bard ult is going to stop the first engage, but is there a fight they can have? Spica healing up on the minion wave, right? The Ocean Soul doing some dividends, getting the health bar up, but hey, they are forcing them back. They are dealing enough damage to say, okay, you might regen, but your health bars are low right now. Mid lane tier 2 is gone. Let's keep going. Bear buff is on for another solid minute. Damonte pushes in top. That turret's at 20%. Mid lane's under siege right now. They're going to keep trying.
That Bard ult was actually so sick because Bjergsen came down from top lane to go for the 5v4. But that Bard ult completely denied the engage and not only saved that mid lane, it got the free time for TF up on that top side to get damage down on that inhibitor tower. So the inhibitor tower, you know, very slowly will regen, but it's really low on health. So if Bjergsen has to step away at all, you know, one Lichbane blue card, and that's probably just dead at this point. So really nice play from huhi. Has been outstanding lately for Golden Guardians, and
good damage and
TSM
Biofrost from a trap.
Yeah, trying to aggressively wave clear here.
And this is kind of the timing here. 20 seconds left on Baron buff, 20 seconds and change on Ashe Arrow, a bit less than that for that one side, a bit more than that for Broken Blades, Call of the Forge God. Those are the cooldowns Golden Guardians are playing around, trying to land snipes, trying to use rapid fire cannon autos for a bit of damage. Here comes TF ulti, Broken Blades at half HP, Bartle up again, catches Doublelift, more damage, double knockup, hard engage, huhi's running out of health, but they might knock down Broken Blade, but they can't quite do it. He regens up, gets a shield, gets alive, and that is Baron buff timing out. The gold lead only 2,000, and as these teams reset, TSM, you gotta feel their favorite here.
They're very favored from this point forward, especially because they haven't been able to take any 5v5s. And guess what's coming in under 3 minutes? It is the Elder. That is generally the GG buff. That thing is insanely strong, and TSM are going to have their eyes on it. They couldn't crack any of the inhibitor towers because of that great defensive play from huhi. They almost got that top lane turret. But since it's still closed off, there's not the potential of just TF ulting into the base to take down, you know, the inhibitor itself or any sort of shenanigans like that. So it was actually really critical that they kept that turret alive.
And as we turn the corner here, it is now TSM point of view. The team in the driver's seat, the team that, yeah, the technical gold lead is not with them, but they are the stronger squad on the map right now. It is up to ingenuity from Golden Guardians. How good is your split push? The spooky ghosts are in the twin shadows for Damonte to find those picks out in the wings, to find the openings there. Red buff being started. It's on some vision, and a nice snipe by FBI is going to grab the red buff. He's got to get the Mikhails, the Claims, he's got to flash away, stays alive. Ulti going to catch Biofrost, and TPs are coming in from all sides. Closer goes for the kick, catches Biofrost 1 for 0. 5v4 the team fight. How good is it going to look? A double knockdown for Broken Blade, and Closer forced away as well. Huhi low on health. Hauntzer pulled into the Death Realm with the Broken Blade here as well. A snipe on Double puts him at half HP. FBI maybe can be the carry. More damage on Broken Blade, but the Cleanse, the Mikhails, all those are on cooldown. No longer has tools to get away from Hard CC. But somehow Golden Guardians found a way to burst a squishier member, to burst down Biofrost and say, look, you can't regen through death. We'll see you next time.
Nice kick onto Biofrost, but Bjergsen, I think he got way too greedy with his Shockwave. He actually tried to Shockwave FBI blind over the wall instead of just taking what looked like a guaranteed two-man Shockwave on Hauntzer and Huhi. And if he Shockwaves them instead, they are for sure dead. And they could have just taken, you know, a guaranteed win. Instead, they tried to go for it all. They knew they'd force the QSS, they'd force the flash, they wanted to commit to this. But again, great defensive play from Huhi, keeping him safe. And then watch when Bjergsen comes in here. He's really fishing for FBI, and they know if they kill off FBI, they hard win this fight. So instead of taking that Shockwave that was guaranteed on Huhi and Hauntzer, over the wall, blind, looks for it. FBI anticipates and steps back. So that is a critical error there from Bjergsen. With those two members dead, you have full run of the map. Could have probably gotten some towers as well. And, you know, that is something where sometimes you just got to take the guaranteed kills.
Yeah, and in the day he missed that one, and that means that it was a small team fight victory for Golden Guardians. The gold lead slightly pads in their favor, but Bjergsen still a gigantic threat. Lost the Banshee's Veil. Ulti's going to land. Again, they've got to find the play. They've got to find the CC. They've got to find the stun. The kick gets him over the wall. They're going to chase it down, though, and that's going to be the shutdown. The damage was there, and it's time to chase on down. Without Bjergsen, this fight is a lot easier. Doublelift burns the QSS, flashes away from Hauntzer. Knockup engages there. He's going to pull the ulti into Broken Blade. They're going to fight 1v1 as Spica's forced to run backwards. Easy scuttle take here for TSM, but it's going to be Golden Guardians who want to chase Spica at 200 health. Flashes over the wall, and there is no contest here for the Elder Dragon. Spica trying to regen up. He gets a lot. Ocean Drake plus hitting jungle monsters, but it is a 5v4. Bjergsen cannot be in this fight, and they cannot steal the Elder Dragon. So Golden Guardians again find the pick they need. The ulti from Huhi sets it up, and they kill Bjergsen this time.
What can't this guy do? Huhi is just on fire, refusing to lose here against TSM. Finds the ulti on Bjergsen right after they poked off the Banshees, and I didn't catch what actually was the spell that got it off. So Caitlyn Q then poking that Banshees off into the Huhi ultimate, killing off Bjergsen, and that gives them the Elder. The Elder gives them the Baron, and that gives them a shot in this game. We go to the Honda performance replay. It was, in fact, that Piltover Peacemaker. As soon as it's knocked off, that is a close-range Bart ultimate. You have to flash that. You cannot step outside when it is coming from that close, and then the pink wards come down on the Lantern, kicked over the wall, away from it, and he just gets burst down. It looked for a second like he might have been able to escape. Doublelift with the instant QSS on that gold card, had to flash out as well to avoid Hauntzer on the flash pull-in. If he died there, it could have been even worse. But Bjergsen not able to flash that, perhaps didn't realize that his Banshee's Veil had been popped off by the Caitlyn Q.
If there's a time to win the game, it is now. You are never getting stronger than this point in. You were never getting stronger than this. Ocean Soul lets your tanks regen. It does not do a lot for your squishies. You have Elder buff for 1:10. You have Red Bull Baron for 2:10. It is time to kill the base. You are never going to be more power spiked than this. Biofrost tries to find the hook, can't find it just yet. This turret is gone. How many inhibs will they get? Can they reach the Nexus? Top lane turret going to fall as well. Double inhib is a guarantee. Still 54 seconds on Elder, and Doublelift gets a nice shield from Orianna. Means he barely feels the ulti out from Caitlyn. Bot wave not anywhere close. They're going for the Nexus on this. TSM must mount the defense on these turrets. Top lane under fire. Ball somewhat near where the siege would be. They keep spreading around, looking to knock down the waves back and forth. Double cannon wave is in. Bjergsen knocks them down a bit. 2 autos will kill that one off. Banshee's Veil not yet knocked off Bjergsen. He is still not a target. 1 auto will knock down that top turret. Rapid fire cannon does do its worth in gold when you need the little pot shots to knock those turrets down. Double does the best to wave clear. Gets a little bit of poke on FBI. Elder buff gone in 15 seconds. That is most of the combat power that Golden Guardians have. They walk in the next wave. They are not outing the top turret just yet, but they really need to put a couple of shots in. Bot lane taking some damage. A couple of cannon minions there as well. A little bit more poke comes in. First turret finally falls. Baron on for 1 minute here as the Elder falls off. Golden Guardians go for the ulti. They get 2. They get 2. Here comes the engage, and they're going to pull back Doublelift, and Flashless knows he will die. A stopwatch, as Zhonya's keeps Damonte alive. The second turret is now gone as well, and they've pulled in the fight. They've looked for the kill. Broken Blade burns the QSS. The Nexus is falling, and Golden Guardians 2-0 in the best of 5.
Oh my god, huhi.